million.
That's dollars, not twinkling lights, but that would be great too.
Play the Kansas Lottery.
KansasLottery.com for details.
It's time for Black Friday, Dell Technologies' biggest sale of the year. Enjoy huge savings on select PCs like the Dell 16 Plus, featuring Intel Core Ultra processors. And with built-in advanced features, it's the PC that helps you do more, faster. Plus, earn Dell rewards and enjoy many other benefits, like free shipping, price match guarantee, and expert support. They also have huge deals on accessories that pair perfectly with your Dell PC and make perfect gifts for everyone on your list. Shop now at Dell.com/deals.
Hi, I'm Maria, salon owner. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Not available in all states. Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary. Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program may only have to pay back a mere fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it could end your debt nightmare and save you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. For free information and to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, simply go online and visit DRA.com or call 800-474-1811. 800-474-1811. That's 800-474-1811.
This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
The week of practice has officially begun for the Kansas City Chiefs as they get set to take on the Denver Broncos Sunday afternoon. Huge game. I mean, it was told as such today when we talked with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, Trent McDuffie, and Hollywood Brown at the presser this morning in the lead up to today's practice. And there was a lot of information that came out of today that could give us a glimpse into what we may end up seeing on Sunday. After hours here on 96.5 The Fan, Logan Weber here with you alongside my producer for tonight's program, Jackson Ogden, hanging out till 9 o'clock tonight. Our text line, 913-586-7965. And I guess I'll lead with the injury report for both of these teams getting into the first day of practice on Wednesday. For the Kansas City Chiefs, the only guy who didn't practice, not much of a surprise, is Isaiah Pacheco. Certainly lends you to believe that it's unlikely that he plays again this week. Raises the question as to who the running back three is going to be. It was Clyde Edwards-Helaire in that Bills game prior to the bye week. Andy has been asked several times following that game about Elijah Mitchell. Do we see a change? I'm not entirely convinced of that. But Pacheco, I would not, as of this point. Now, things can change, obviously. And with an MCL sprain, that's an injury that it's just going to be dependent on how the guy feels. You know, it's something that if he continues to try to play on it, could cause a much more serious injury. You think about a guy like Robert Griffin III. That is an injury that RG3 dealt with early in his career. It led itself into a full-blown tear and threw his career into chaos after that and really cut it a lot shorter than he was anticipating after a very promising start to his career. So obviously the Chiefs don't want to threaten that if they're Isaiah, if you're Isaiah Pacheco, and neither does he personally, but if he's able to play, it's all going to come down to how that man feels. That's it. It's going to be fascinating to watch. The only other injury update for the Kansas City Chiefs today was actually George Karlaftis. He did practice, but he was limited in practice today. I guess he's dealing with a thumb injury. Now, this is the first that I have heard of any kind of injury issue with George Karlaftis. I don't think that it puts his status on Sunday in jeopardy by any means, but that is a slight injury. You know, it's a concern without question that he's dealing with something. How it's going to affect his ability on the field, I'm not quite sure. It's definitely not the right position group to be dealing with that right now, considering the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs defensive line may be overall the weakest unit on this football team. And that is your leading pass rusher. He leads your team in sacks. He leads your team in pressures. He leads your team in quarterback hits. If he can't play, Chris Jones is going to be in for a rough night. If he's not getting double teamed 80% of the time right now, it's going to be 100% of the time. And that Broncos offensive line, which right now is graded out as the best in football, is going to dare Charles Omenihu and Ashton Gelati, Derek Nottie, Jerry Tillery, and others to beat him.
Well, I mean, we've seen it, Logan. A lot of the Chiefs pass rushers, I would exempt Karlaftis from this, but I'd put everybody else in this category. They simply don't win one-on-one enough. They do not get to the quarterback one-on-one, and it allows teams to double Chris Jones, and it allows them to use a back to maybe go and protect against Karlaftis on the edge. Omenihu has to win more. Gelati has to win more. Dana has to win more. These guys have to start winning more one-on-ones, and if Karlaftis is out, which I don't know if he will be or not, it's kind of weird because going into the bye, he didn't really have any injury designation, and now coming out of it, he does. It's just kind of I don't know if they're doing that as a technicality or what the real deal is there. But it really has been this entire season. If it's not Chris Jones and if it's not Karlaftis, nobody's getting home to the quarterback.
No, and you talk about pass rush win rate. Karlaftis and Chris Jones are both above, like, right around league average, I believe I saw, like, right around, like, 18%. Everybody else on this Chiefs team is below 10% in terms of their pass rush win rate, which is well below the league average. I have no concerns about George Karlaftis' availability on Sunday. I absolutely believe he will go, whether that means, you put some sort of brace on it or tape it up, whatever. He's going to be able to go. I don't think a thumb is going to prevent George Karlaftis from playing in this football game, right? As a defensive end, as an edge rusher, it's a little bit less of a concern. I understand, a thumb can be important when it comes to getting hands-on rip moves and things like that, but I don't think that a thumb is going to prevent him from playing. If it was a wide receiver, that's a different... Yeah, exactly.
Like, this is not a position that, while it limits you, it doesn't necessarily stop you entirely from being able to do what you do. And Karlaftis has a lot of power, so if it is dinged up, he doesn't necessarily have to rely so much on swim moves and stuff like that. He can just bulldoze his way to the quarterback. Yeah,
I'm not at all concerned about Karlaftis. I think he'll play on Sunday. I'm not super confident in what Isaiah Pacheco is going to be able to bring to the table, and that's going to could be problematic if you're the Chiefs offense, if you're relying heavily on Kareem Hunt, which admittedly Kareem Hunt looked really good against the Buffalo Bills.
I was going to say, you could argue, even if Pacheco's healthy, that Hunt should get the majority of the carries.
I would agree.
Like, he's been the better back this season. And not that the Chiefs have had an elite back or anything, but Hunt has been fantastic at short yardage situations. What they're missing is the big explosive play that Pacheco from 2 years ago could do.
Right.
But since he broke his leg last year, just hasn't been the same. So that's where that kind of misses, and that's where you say, do you let Elijah Mitchell play? Do you give more handoffs to Brashard Smith? Do you let Clyde even get more opportunities? It's a sticky situation right now, but I say regardless if Pacheco's healthy or not, you give Hunt the majority of the carries.
Yeah, I agree. And you talk about the big plays, and this was something that got brought up the other day. I was doing Cody and Gold with Alex the other day, and somebody in the text line was saying something about Brashard Smith has to be better with his carries. He's only got 28 carries this year, and he's averaging less than 3 yards per. And while I don't necessarily disagree, because I think there is some merit to that, you have to in some ways look at where those carries have come from, right? He got 4 carries for 9 yards in that game against the Ravens, and they all came in the fourth quarter when the game was already in hand, where the Chiefs were just handing the football off to Brashard Smith and running out the clock. And then half of his carries, 14 of his 28 carries this year, were in that Raiders game. In that second half, after Mahomes was benched, with Gardner Minshew in at quarterback, a lot of the offensive line had been pulled at that point, and they were just handing the ball to Brashard Smith in hopes of running out the clock. He hasn't gotten a lot of opportunities to get carries in normal game situations. Most of the time when he's gotten a touch outside of the Buffalo game last week, it has really seemingly come in games that have already, the overall win or loss decision has already been nailed into stone. It's been decided at that point. And so when everybody in the world knows you're going to run the football, including the defense, it's hard to have success. So for my money, I don't think we've seen enough of Brashard Smith to say he's not super effective in the running game just yet. I would like to see him get a little bit more of something going. You know, he only had 3 carries for 7 yards in that Buffalo game, but find more ways to get this man the football, because right now he's only touched the ball 42 times this year, 14 receptions, 28 carries. If Pacheco can't go, which as of this moment, I would be willing to bet he doesn't, I would like to see more of Brashard Smith than we saw 2 weeks ago against Buffalo.
And I'd also like to say people have a short memory because Pacheco was a 7th-round pick in 2022. When did he start going? In November. You know, Brashard Smith, there's still time. Like, people don't remember. It wasn't like Pacheco came in week 1 and started hitting the ground and going. Pacheco worked his way into the offense about this time of year, about week 11, and then from then on, he took the job. I'm not saying Brashard Smith is going to do the exact same thing, but you got to be patient with a 7th-round pick. I mean, this is not a guy you took in the top 10 like Ashton Genty. This is a 7th-round guy. He wasn't going to come in and be your workhorse from the start. They will find ways to get him the ball. I promise you, they will find ways.
Yeah, I mean, Pacheco didn't really take over the starting running back duties until week 9 of that 2022 season. It was a November 13th game. Prior to that, you know, he did have 12 carries in week 1 against the Cardinals 3 years ago, but that was a 44-21 game that the Chiefs had been manhandling Arizona all day, and he got a lot of opportunities in the second half. You know, a similar situation with that win against Tampa Bay that they had that same year in 2022, where they blew them out in the first half. I think that was the game that Tyreek Hill went for like 200 yards in the first half or something ridiculous. And then you got Pacheco going after that. But he didn't have back-to-back games with double-digit carries until weeks 9 and 10 of that 2022 season. This is what Andy Reid has always done. Brings the rookies along slow. Rashee Rice, 2 years ago, they brought him along slow. Last year, it was Xavier Worthy that slowly started to get more involved. We've seen Noel Williams and Ashton Gelati, as this season has gone on, become more of a factor on the defensive side of the football. Go back to Patrick Mahomes. The guy started 1 game as a rookie. And now in year 2, here we go. He's the best quarterback on the planet. So sometimes it's about slow playing these guys, trying to learn a system, because Andy Reid's offense and Steve Spagnuolo's defenses are known for being incredibly complex, known for having constant changes and shifts in the playbook, in the game plan week after week after week. So that, on top of just the speed and the physicality of the NFL level versus college football, it can be a lot for a young guy. Really, of all the young rookies, I guess you could say, that you saw hit the ground running at a real skill position, outside of like offensive and defensive line for this Chiefs team, the only one you can really point out is probably Trent McDuffie. And that's just because he was an uber talented player, right? Chris Jones was the same way on the D-line. This is sort of what Andy Reid has been notorious for throughout his career, is bringing on the rookies slower, so that way, once they do have it figured out, then they can play with confidence, rather than trying to figure it out while they're playing, and sometimes it can rattle a guy.
And I think it applies more to the offense than the defense.
Agreed.
Because we've seen Bolton come in and play, make an impact early. Like you said, McDuffie. even that year in 2022, Jalen Watson and Joshua Williams got meaningful snaps as well. But you are right about the offense. Like, they take it slow. I know Hunt had that crazy rookie year in 2017. That's more of an outlier, though. They really like to take things slow. Tyreek didn't break out his first year in Kansas City. Kelsey missed his entire first year in Kansas City. Like, this has kind of been the way things have gone with the Chiefs ever since Andy Reid's been here, and it's worked. It'd be one thing if this wasn't working, but it's worked. So it's hard at the moment, but let's have some patience and understand. Look how good Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy are compared to where they were.
Absolutely.
This is what you have to boil it down to.
No question about it. I mean, you think about a guy on the offensive side of the football at a skill position that was a rookie starter right off the bat with this Kansas City team. The first guy that comes to my mind is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And that did not work. He had 803 rushing yards and 4 rushing touchdowns his rookie year, and it just got incrementally worse every single year after that. And I'm not saying that facetiously. Look at this man's stats on Pro Football Reference. They went down every single year he's been in the league. And that's sort of the fear that you have of, like, if you put a rookie in there and he doesn't have instantaneous success, sometimes it can be a complete detriment to a guy. On the flip side, somebody in the text line just mentioned it. Kareem Hunt was a starter as a rookie. Yeah, and he led the league in rushing, which was that's an outlier of things. And who knows, what the career looks like if not for the off the field thing and whatever else. But outside of him, the only other guy I can think of at a skill position that started immediately as a rookie is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And it just didn't work. On the flip side of things, with the Denver Broncos, they had a much longer injury report for today's practice. Jonathan Cooper, Marvin Mims, and Garrett Wallow, all 3 of those guys did practice today. They were all full participants today at that. Cooper's dealing with a thumb issue of his own. Marvin Mims, who missed last week's game because of a concussion, he was a full participant today. And Wallow, who's got a hamstring issue, also practiced. There were a handful of guys who did not practice today, namely Pat Surtain II, who did not practice with that pec issue. J.K. Dobbins with the foot injury did not practice. Inside linebacker Alex Singleton was dealing with an illness, and he didn't practice. However, because it's an illness, have to imagine he'll still be able to go on Sunday.
He actually had the thing that came out that he's actually been diagnosed with prostate cancer. So
my goodness, I completely forgot about that.
Me and Alex were actually talking about it on that betting show last hour.
Oh my goodness.
So Singleton is obviously stepping away from football. So they do have it listed down as illness, but it is he's come out and he had a really good message about it. It is prostate cancer that he's had.
I completely forgot.
He will not obviously be playing in this game on Sunday, and we obviously
awful.
wish him the best.
That's awful. I didn't even think. I just read illness on the report, and I remember reading the article 2 days ago and just completely forgot.
It's an honest mistake, but I was like, I better chime in and
my goodness.
I better come in and say something.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying it. Yeah, leaving that as it lies was not. Yeah, that was. Woof.
Yeah, we're obviously wishing the best for him.
Absolutely. The other guys that didn't practice, Trent Sherfield with a toe issue, Jonah Ellis, who's an outside linebacker for this Broncos team with a hamstring issue, and Nate Adkins, who is a tight end, did not practice with a knee. So the injury report quite a bit longer for the Broncos, namely with Dobbins and Pat Surtain, who didn't practice. What their status looks like at the end of this week could be very, very interesting. If the Broncos have to walk into this game on Sunday without their number 1 running back, it kind of tightens the purse strings a little bit if you're this Broncos offense, and could allow for the Chiefs defense to kind of pin its ears back and be a little bit more effective in terms of getting to Bo Nix, because frankly, he has not been the same Bo Nix that we saw a year ago, especially in the last 3 weeks. And then on the defensive side of the football, I mean, their front is going to generate pressure. It's just what they do, right? There are 4 teams in the NFL with 30 or more sacks this year. You've got 1 team with 30, 2 teams at 32 apiece. The Broncos have 46. They got 14 more sacks through 10 games of anybody else in professional football. That's how good, and it comes from everywhere. It's not just Nick Bonito.
No.
I think they've got, 8 guys that have at least 3 sacks this year? I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of depth they have.
Ridiculous. I mean, there was the London game they played against the Jets, they had 9 against Fields. And Fields is not an easy guy to bring down. He's a mobile quarterback back there that can scramble. So, yeah, their defensive and offensive line in Denver have been fantastic all year long. And it's been a big part of their success because the quarterback play, like you said, Nix is not playing nearly as well as he did a year ago. The completion percentage down to 60%, and that's where you start teetering on backup. Last year was at 66%. That's more of an NFL starter. This year, he's really struggled. And they've had to win games late on, let's just call it what it is, miracles. They've had to win some games on miracles.
Yeah, they scored 33 points against the Broncos in a quarter of football to come back and win that football game.
I was telling Alex last hour on that betting show, it reminds me a lot of Tebow in Denver, where they just would do nothing for 3 quarters, and then in that 4th quarter, the quarterback all of a sudden comes alive.
Yeah. So I'm correcting myself. The Broncos have 5 players on their team with 3.5 or more sacks, but they've got 9 guys on this team that have at least 2. And
they're deep.
Yeah, and that comes from a variety of different places. Linebackers, edge rushers, defensive tackles, even their DBs. I mean, Talanoa Hufanga has 2 sacks this year. Jaquan McMillan has 2 sacks this year coming from his slot corner position. So they're, in some ways, very similar to this Chiefs team, except they are much more talented on their front 4. So when they do send extra pressure from a linebacker or a corner or a safety from the box, it can be a little bit more effective than even what the Chiefs want to do because they don't have to send extra pressure to get to the quarterback. It just makes it even more of an effective aspect of their defense, and that's a bit of a terrifying thought for the Kansas City Chiefs. 913-586-7965 is our number. Talking Chiefs, Broncos. We've got some messages in the text line that we'll talk through coming up next. You're listening to After Hours. Logan Weber, Jackson Ogden, 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
More than a few of our patients have talked to me about their first time, but it's not the first time you're probably thinking about. It's the first time that erectile dysfunction ruined the moment. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're over 50, it's likely that you've had that first time yourself. But the good news is that if you're like most men, that first time can be the last time that ED impacts your sex life. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men using protocols with success rates well over 90%. And those treatments have, in most cases, made sex great again for both them and their partners. You could even find that you're performing like you haven't in years. So if ED has been affecting your intimacy, it's time to make the last time that happens the last time that happens. For just $99, you'll receive blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks is proud to offer an exclusive and extensive collection of some incredibly rare bourbons, whiskey, and tequilas. Plus, check out our barrel selections that are handcrafted by our team and bottled just for you. Supply is limited. Cheers!
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Ever wonder what your home is really worth? Find out in seconds with a true market expert. Just Google Sharp Homes Team, and on their website, click on the button that says, "How much is your home really worth?" The Sharp Homes Team can give you options, including their instant offer program. Skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold. And if you're buying or selling, reach out to the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp with the Sharp Homes Team, brokered by Epic Realty. So don't wait. Google Sharp Homes Team today.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Did you know that you can watch all your favorite shows right on YouTube? We're live streaming Fesco and Dusty, Cody and Gold, The Drive, and After Hours all day long. So if you want to look at the beautiful Alex Gold, interact with Cody Tapp in the chat, or gaze at the ruggedly handsome Dusty Likens, just go to YouTube and watch them while you pretend to work. Go to our channel, hit subscribe, and stay up to date with 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
Man, I mean, there are some moments, right, in everybody's life where you just have to kind of put the rivalry aside for a minute. I know it's Broncos week, and we're Chiefs fans. We don't like the Chiefs, or we don't like the Broncos when they're not playing the Chiefs, especially when they are. But, my God, this Alex Singleton story is incredible. So, if you didn't hear it in the first segment, I read the injury report. I saw his name. He was listed as illness, completely forgetting about the fact that this man had surgery 2 days ago. So, according to the NFL, after a random, routine NFL drug test during last week's Monday meeting, last Monday, so the Broncos played Thursday night against the Raiders. Last Monday, he went in for a routine NFL drug test, and the results showed abnormalities. He went to the doctor, found out that he had testicular cancer. Surgery was scheduled for Friday. So what does he decide to do? Just dives himself into football. He said, when speaking with reporters, that football's always been an outlet for me. So he played Thursday against the Raiders, had 9 tackles, and then the next morning, he had surgery to remove a cancerous tumor. This man had 9 tackles with a tumor and testicular cancer. Absolutely unbelievable. He said, Tuesday, Wednesday, I just got to fully immerse myself in football and get it out of my mind as much as I could because he didn't know anything, right? So rather than focusing on the unknown, well, you focus on your happy place, I guess you could say. Focus on the thing that brings you the most comfort and the most joy, and that's the game of football, right? I mean, it makes perfect sense. That is an absolutely unbelievable story. And I know that we make a big fuss every year, and we've heard players do it, and we in the media have made cracks about it, and it's always an interesting thing on social media when some guy has a big day, and after the game, the NFL is like, hey, we have to drug test you. Who knows, without the NFL's routine or random drug testing, how long it would have been before they found this. Right? I mean, that's a huge part of this story that I'm catching right now, is that it was literally because of a routine NFL drug test that they found abnormalities and discovered that he had cancer. Very well could have saved his life.
Yeah, I mean, it's a horrible situation, but like you said, the silver lining is that they were able to detect it pretty early, and I have no idea how you're getting surgery the next morning and you go out there and play football. Especially, he's a linebacker. He's getting hit. It's physical. It's a big health risk for anyone, not to mention somebody who has cancer and has to get surgery in the morning. So, man, big props to him. We're obviously wishing for a speedy recovery, and may the best go towards him and his family.
I mean, I'm a Chiefs fan. A lifelong Chiefs fan, always have been, always will be. I grew up here. There's no other NFL team that I'll root for. But I tell you one thing, I'm an Alex Singleton fan for life. Absolutely a remarkable story. He said that the next morning after the surgery, they did a CT scan. They showed that the cancer hadn't spread to any other parts of the body. So that's certainly a great story. And now says that he wants to become an advocate for early screening for testicular cancer, which is an incredible thing for him. Now, having that personal experience can be a huge point of pride, to convince people to get themselves checked out, because you can sometimes just ignore it. Just say, I have a little bit of a pain, but it's no big deal. I'll pop an aspirin and move on. And you just never know what it could pop. I myself have had members of my family that have had testicular cancer, and they have had to have major surgeries and, that have incapacitated their ability to have a family, and those sorts of things. It's a terrifying thought. And I can't say enough about how impressed I am with Alex Singleton, and just shocked at the way he was able to, like you said, kind of compartmentalize finding out on Monday that this man has cancer and continuing like Tuesday, Wednesday to get ready for the game, let alone to play in that game on Thursday, to play it as well as he did, to have 9 tackles, knowing the next morning you were going to have major surgery that could have a really good or even a really bad outcome. That's absolutely remarkable. I don't know. I had to throw that out there because I kicking myself. I just read illness on it, and I didn't even put 2 and 2 together that it was his name. Like, I was like, oh, Alex Singleton's out with an illness. I read the article on Monday and just completely forgot about it. Somebody in the text line says it was probably a PSA-related test, which typically men don't get until they are well over 30. I think the medical standard is to get it annually at 45. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've always known it to be 45, but is Alex Singleton even 30?
He's got to be early 30s, late 20s. He can't be that. I mean, he's been in the league.
He's been in the league a while. He's 31 years
31,
old. Okay.
So, yeah, you wouldn't expect it out of a healthy young athlete like him. He's probably one of the healthiest people in the world. These NFL players are. But that's the thing, is that it can really impact anyone. It doesn't matter how healthy you are. It can always pop up, and that's why, it's good to get tested. And I'm sure that that's a valuable thing that he learned early, and he can help other people with now.
Yeah, just continue to ask for the best for Alex Singleton as he continues to battle this sort of thing. An absolutely incredible story. Somebody in the text line says, wouldn't you play the best game of your life if you thought it was your last one? I would hope. But how? I don't know if I'd be able to have that sharp of. I'm one of those people. I am a worrywart. I am anxious. I have to think about every single outcome possible, good, bad, or otherwise. I just don't know if I could shut all of that down and focus on what's in front of me. Even if it was if it was me in my job, I don't know if I could have done what Alex Singleton did on the football field here in this radio studio. I just don't think I could. I think it would engulf my mind.
Yeah, I think it's different for everybody. I think there's a lot of people out there, myself included, who, whenever they're dealing with something or whatever, appreciate the distraction of going to work, or for him, obviously, his job is playing football, so that's takes up a lot more time and energy and stuff than it does to do what we do. But, I just think it depends on the individual. I do think there is something to be said about, hey, I'm dealing with this right now. I want to get it off my mind for 3 hours and just go play a football game. Try and escape the reality of that for a while and do what you love for a little bit before you have to obviously get it taken care of. But it sounds like it got taken care of before it spread, and that's obviously huge news. And so, I can't wait to see him on the field again.
No question about it. 913-586-7965 is our number. We'll try to get away from some of the heavier topics and get back to more football-related conversation here when we come back. After Hours, Logan Weber, Jackson Ogden, 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Man, if your stream isn't as strong as it used to be, or you're taking more breaks to the bathroom than the last 2 minutes of a televised football game,
there's another timeout. We'll be back after this.
it's time to get checked. An enlarged prostate, or BPH, could be the cause. And Kansas City Urology Care is here to help. Fast answers, trusted care. Don't wait. Come see Kansas City's largest, most experienced, and most advanced urology team. Visit kcuc.com today. At KCUC, you see the best in KC.
I woke up this morning feeling like I was coming down with something. Cough, congestion, headache. My first thought was, nope, this can't happen. I have big plans this weekend. So I took Mucinex Kickstart. It provides all-in-one and done relief with a morning jolt of instant cooling sensation. Thanks to Mucinex Kickstart, I didn't even need to cancel my weekend plans. If you start feeling cough and congestion coming on, take Mucinex Kickstart for relief with a kick. At your favorite retailer. Use as directed.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 25 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shields Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 or in Mississippi.
Hey, it's almost Andy Reid. Who knew dressing up for a Halloween ball would change my life forever? Now I get to celebrate with the best fans and everything Kansas City. Oh, yeah! My journey also led me to Renner Garage Door, Casey's go-to team for garage door repair, replacement, and service since 1956. Renner features an MVP lineup from Delden, Amar, and Liftmaster.
R-E-N-N-E-R, R-E-N-N-E-R. Save time when you shop online with Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee makes it easy to order groceries online through our app or Hy-Vee.com. Pickup is always free. And if you have a Perks Plus membership, you get free delivery and free express pickup. Shop online with Hy-Vee and you can create and save grocery lists, shop the sales, and get fuel savers. Talk about convenience. Order groceries online today. Check out Hy-Vee.com or download the Hy-Vee app.
If you've been diagnosed with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, this is what it sounds like to be 1,000,000 miles away. Imagine being 1,000,000 miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy. With Tremfya, clearer skin is possible. In clinical trials, at least 70% of patients saw at least 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks. Results may vary. Tremfya is also indicated for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Call 1-800-526-7736 or visit Tremfya.com.
After Hours, 96.5 The Fan. Logan Weber here alongside Jackson Ogden. Our text line, 913-586-7965 is our number. Somebody in the text line said, I think I just missed what you guys said. Did you say why Josh Simmons was gone? No, we still do not have any kind of an official anything about why Simmons was away from the team. Again, it's just that personal issue that has been widely speculated on for the last month plus, but he is back with the team. He did practice today. In fact, Andy Reid was asked about the left tackle situation now that Josh Simmons is back, and he was very blunt and about saying that he has no idea right now. He said something to the effect of he can't make a decision based on the fact that he hasn't seen Josh practice in a month. So he's like, I'm going to wait and see how the week of practice goes and then make a decision from there. Not sure what kind of shape Josh Simmons is in. Obviously, he hasn't been through any team workouts or team meetings or practices because he hasn't been with the team. So what his shape looks like, how he's able to get himself back into game shape and back up to game speed is going to be a major factor, but a very welcome sign to have him back for no other reason than it just provides depth along this offensive line. It was good news to see that Jawan Taylor was a full participant in practice after he was dealing with an injury that knocked him out of that Buffalo Bills game. Sounds like he's going to be ready to go at right tackle, but if that injury does get re-aggravated, then you at least have some depth on your offensive line that you can feel a little bit more confident in. And that's not a dig against Wanya Morris. It's just the flat-out truth that he struggled in that game against Buffalo when he had to come in spots because of the injury to Jawan Taylor and because Jalen Moore at one point left for a few plays because he was dealing with an injury. So if one of those two guys gets banged up, you at least have somebody else along the edge there of your offensive line that you've seen prove it, right? Not for an extended period of time by any means, but when Josh Simmons was starting at left tackle, I didn't feel like we were having a lot of conversations about how much he was struggling there at all, comparatively speaking to like how the conversations we were having about Kingsley Suamataia a season ago.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Kingsley's been much better at guard. It hasn't even been close. And look, it is hard to ask a 21, 22-year-old kid coming out of college, go play left tackle immediately in the NFL. That is really hard. We always say it's hard to come in and play quarterback. Left tackle's really hard because you're going up against grown men. You're fresh out of college. That's a big ask, and that just proves how good Josh Simmons has been, but it also is something that we should consider when we're talking about a guy like Kingsley who, as a rookie wasn't great at tackle, but it's a big ask to step in as a second-round pick and be great at tackle immediately. So I think moving him to guard's been great for both parties. I think it's helped him a lot. I think it's helped the Chiefs a lot. And now that we have more depth with Simmons being back, Jalen Moore or Josh Simmons can play left tackle, but now you have both in the building. And if Jawan Taylor goes down or you lose a guy, you just have more bodies in the building, and you don't have to resort to a Wanya Morris.
No question about it. Somebody in the text line was talking about, we were discussing earlier in the show, the running game. And Kareem Hunt, Brashard Smith, Isaiah Pacheco. This person says, I don't care about Smith running the ball between the tackles. What about the screen game? What about RPOs? And I'm with you 100%. We've seen this team make some throws out to the running backs, but it hasn't really been in screen plays. It's been swing route, swing pattern. It's been the first, second, third, and fourth reads didn't work, so just dump it down to the running back late and see if he can make something happen. And that hasn't been incredibly successful. I'd like to see some screen game a little bit more. I'd like to see Brashard Smith catch the ball out of the backfield and have Josh Simmons and Kingsley Suamataia and Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith and whoever out in front leading the way and trying to pave a path for him to make some plays down the field. That would be very, very intriguing for me. Maybe some jet sweep style scenarios, because I agree with you about running the ball between the tackles. Kareem Hunt's the only guy on this Chiefs team that I believe is an effective runner between the tackles. So why don't you utilize him in those sort of 5 wide sets that the Chiefs will get into sometimes, that they'll end up sending a running back in motion, right, who will just end up next to Mahomes in the backfield? run him through, run a jet sweep, try to get him outside the tackles, get him one-on-one in space with some DBs and see if he can make some guys miss, because he has proven time and again that when he does have those one-on-one chances, he does make guys miss. He has a little bit of an agility gear in space that Pacheco and Kareem Hunt just do not have, right? Pacheco, I don't really think has ever had that in his career. And Kareem Hunt, he did have some of that early in his career, making guys miss, hurdling guys and things like that. But he's 31 years old right now, and he's been a running back in this league for approaching a decade. It's just hard to have that same level of explosiveness at the running back position, right? Fair or unfair, that's why we see running backs become less of a hot commodity in the last 15 years, because those guys get a lot of tread on the tires, good, bad, or otherwise, that limits their long-term ability and availability, and good, bad, or otherwise. We were talking about how in Andy Reid's system, he's usually been very slow to get rookies involved. And on the offensive side of the football, there's really only been two guys that were day one starters right off the bat at a skill position, I will add. And that was Kareem Hunt, who was very effective in his rookie year. He was the NFL's leading rusher. And the other was Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who had a sort of a ho-hum rookie year, but because it wasn't instantaneous success, may have adversely affected the rest of his career, which we've seen get incrementally less effective throughout his time in the NFL. Somebody made mention of some of the defensive guys who we talked a little bit about. You know, Trent McDuffie, a day one starter. Nick Bolton was a day one starter. Again, the defensive side of the football, and you said this, Jackson, is a little bit different than the offensive side of the ball. On defense, you know, you're in a base look, you're in a cover 2, you're in a cover 4. Yes, the overall game planning and the scheme, the play calls themselves can be difficult, especially in Spags' system, because it's constantly evolving. Every single week, there's new things thrown in. But the offensive side of the football, it is entirely dependent, especially as a skill position player. When there's only one football to go around, everybody's looking at you when you have the football, and what you do with it once you have it, that can be a boom or bust for a guy's confidence level compared to the defensive side of the football.
Well, it's like with Jalen Royals, right? People are probably wondering, where is he? The team took him in the 4th round. He was supposed to have some impact on this offense. They'll get him integrated into the offense in the coming years. They didn't take Jalen Royals to be a guy that plays immediately and has an immediate impact. They already had Rice, Worthy, Hollywood, and Tyquan Thornton made himself a name so far this season. They knew Jalen Royals wasn't going to be getting the football a ton this year. They don't pick guys to come in and immediately have success because they know it's hard to an Andy Reid system. It's a complicated scheme, and you have to give those rookies a little bit of grace, give them time to learn it, and they're going to make mistakes. You just have to live with that and let them grow. And you've seen how beneficial that's been for guys like Rice and Worthy, how much better they get just week to week. It's a lot of improvement.
Yeah, and I think Andy has picked that up and used it very intelligently, because I feel like a lot of NFL teams would love to do that with some of their young guys. Unfortunately, they don't always have the opportunity to, right? With those upper echelon, the number of NFL teams that had they taken Patrick Mahomes in the first round of that 2017 draft, and he would have been the instantaneous day one starter, would have been considerable. Right? Think about all the quarterback. Think about
probably 70% of the league.
Like, if Mahomes ends up with the Bears rather than the Chiefs,
yeah, they would have thrown him right into the fire.
He would have been right into and who knows if that would have been the right thing for him. I am of the belief that Mahomes is so supremely talented that he probably would have been able to figure it out. But the fact that he was able to sit for a year because the Chiefs had Alex Smith allowed for him to get a greater grasp of the speed and physicality of the NFL, a greater grasp of Andy Reid's offense, and how to be a professional. We've heard Patrick talk about his relationship with Alex Smith. We've heard Alex talk about it as well, about how those two were able to come together, how good a teacher Alex Smith was to Patrick Mahomes when it came to just being a professional, when it came to film study, when it came to individual workouts and team meetings and position group meetings, to understand the mental side of the game of football, that it completely changed his career. Once he was the guy, he was completely ready for the moment. You know, with guys like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, they were able to use their rookie year as a chance to get themselves involved in the X's and O's, to where when they were ready to step out onto the football field, they may have been athletically ready to go from day one. But the mental side of the game of football is something that I don't feel like gets discussed enough.
Well, let me bring this up to you, Logan, because I think it extends past rookies. When they make trades or sign guys in the season like DeAndre Hopkins or Le'Veon Bell or, whoever they bring in the middle of the season, they typically don't get the ball a lot.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even get it. And they're veterans that have already proved it. So it's not just rookies. And that's why they love guys like Juju so much, is because the familiarity with the scheme, with the system, they're in the right spot at the right time. We saw last year, like, they brought Hopkins in, and in the postseason, they barely even used him. He's just a non-factor. They brought Le'Veon Bell over in the 2020 season. Didn't really do much. Like, we've seen this before. Now, on the defensive side of the football, we've seen guys like Melvin Ingram come in midseason, have a big impact.
Yeah.
They did a lot. So it's really just that offensive side of the football. If you're not there for training camp and you don't really know the system and you're not comfortable in it yet, the Chiefs normally aren't going to put you out there too much.
And as I said, I believe it to be a net positive for this Kansas City Chiefs team, because other teams don't have those same opportunities. They need those guys to come in and be productive players on day one. And the Chiefs understand that while it would be absolutely a benefit to their team, it's not going to be an absolute killer to slow play those guys along. And by not doing that, you give those guys a greater opportunity to find success when they are inevitably ready for the moment. The Chiefs could have very easily ruined Kingsley Suamataia with the way that they handled his situation last year. He starts a couple of games, they bench him, they bring in a guy, they move a guard to left. All of these different moves that they made just to prevent him from starting at left tackle after he was the day one, week one starter, it could have absolutely shattered his confidence. But they found an opportunity to move him over to left guard, and he's really reaped the benefits of that. He's really bought in. Can't really do that with a running back or a wide receiver. Where are you going to move a wide receiver if he struggles early in his career? So I just think that that's something that Andy Reid has done a very, very good job of, because he understands the importance of it and because the Chiefs have had the ability to do that, and so many teams do not. 913-586-7965 is our number. Somebody was asking me about a fantasy football team update. I'll give that on the other side. Here's my tease. It's not going well for me right now. We'll discuss that next. Logan Weber alongside Jackson Ogden. After Hours, 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable scent boosters to give your laundry non-stop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
Can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
Boss, 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 bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppable beads to your wash for 24-hour non-stop freshness so you can smell unstoppable.
Hey, Zach, are you smiling at my gorgeous canyon view?
No, Donald. I'm smiling because I've got something I want to tell the whole world.
Well, do it. Shout it out.
T-Mobile's got home internet.
Whoa, I love that echo. T-Mobile's got home internet.
How much is it?
Look at that, Zach. We got the neighbors' attention.
Just $35 a month. And you love a great deal, Denise.
Plus, they've got a 5-year price guarantee. That's 5 whole trips around the sun.
I'm switching.
Me too.
Yes, T-Mobile home internet for the neighborhood.
Donald, you still haven't returned my weed whacker.
Carl, don't you embarrass me like this, please.
What's everyone yelling about?
T-Mobile's got home internet.
And Donald's got my weed whacker.
Yes, T-Mobile's got home internet. Just $35 a month with auto pay and any voice line. And it's guaranteed for 5 years.
Beautiful yodeling, Carl.
Taxes and fees apply. See T-Mobile.com/ISP for details and exclusions.
Hi, this is Toby Tobin along with Jason Goodenkoff from Lewisburg Ford in Lewisburg, Kansas. Hi, Jason.
Hello, Toby.
Holy cow, you've done it again.
We've done it again, Toby. We won the President's Award again this year. This is the 22nd time we've been awarded this awesome honor from Ford Motor Company.
But what is the President's Award?
The President's Award is the top award Ford Motor Company gives its dealers for excellence in customer satisfaction in both sales and service and their sales penetration numbers. So we are super honored to have received this award for the 22nd time.
It covers the whole works at Lewisburg Ford.
Absolutely, and it's a testament to the awesome people we have working at Lewisburg Ford and helping our customers, and it really shows with this award because it's only a few dealers that get it, and we've done it 22 times.
I guarantee you this is the best place to buy a Ford car or truck in the Midwest.
Absolutely. You couple that President's Award lineage with our no-hassle Toby Tobin pricing, it does not get any better than that.
What is your toll-free number?
816-444-2300.
Or LewisburgFord.com.
Every now and then I rinse it out, and I need Downy rinse tonight, and I need it more. My kid wears the bed and the smell never leaves. I don't know what to do, I'm always in the dark. The sweating dead short smells like a dog park. I'm Downy rinsing tonight.
Downy Rinse fights stubborn odors in just one wash. When impossible odors get stuck in,
Rinse it out.
It's about time pros had one partner for every part of the job. Simple ordering, fast delivery, continuous support, all from one partner. The Home Depot delivers supplies on your schedule. Our pro team helps you plan ahead so projects run smoother. And with Pro Extra benefits, you can simplify ordering, track spending, and save time every step of the way. Because with one partner, you get more than materials, you keep your job moving. The Home Depot Pro. It's about time.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Man, I have to say, first 6 weeks of the NFL season, I felt fantastic about my fantasy football team. So, like, you know how when you finish your draft, they have, like, the power rankings or whatever that they do?
Yeah.
Came out after the draft was over. I had the 5th overall pick, so I was, like, middle rounds of every pick. It's a 10-team league. I had the number 1. I was number 1 in the power rankings. And I'm like, yeah, I drafted a great team. This feels fantastic. Started out 4-2 to begin the year. I'm now 5-5. Injuries have rattled my fantasy football team to its core, namely the running back and wide receiver positions. So with the 5th overall pick, I took Justin Jefferson, thinking, in my opinion, he's the most talented wide receiver in the National Football League. I know there's people that are going to say Jamar Chase, and I have no problem with that. I just have a personal preference for Jettis.
I also took Jefferson in the first round of my league this year. So.
And Minnesota doesn't have a quarterback that can throw him the football.
Yeah, we're equally disappointed.
At least Carson Wentz, when he threw it his direction, put it near him.
Yeah, it wasn't 15 feet above him.
J.J. McCarthy is throwing the ball at Justin Jefferson quite a bit more than Wentz was. He has more targets with J.J. McCarthy. It's
not good targets.
J.J. McCarthy's not a good quarterback and can't put the ball anywhere near his catch radius.
But he can put it in Josh Naylor's hands.
Yeah, he sure can.
Just not
Jordan
Jefferson.
Addison, you know, he can get it to all the other guys, but just not arguably
Jefferson.
the best receiver on the planet. So that's not been fun for me. My 2nd round pick, and I thought I was going to have the best receiver duo in football. I nailed Malik Neighbors in the 2nd round. And he was off to a flying start to begin this year.
Pretty promising.
And then I had to sit there in the press box at Arrowhead and watch live as his knee exploded.
Yeah.
Fantastic for me. I'm like, okay, it's fine. Not a huge, we'll continue to adapt. My third round pick, Kyron Williams, who has quietly had a really good year.
He's been good.
He's had these real boomer bust sort of weeks. He's had a week where he had 10 points, 8.5 points, 10.4 points. He's had weeks where he's been very, very quiet, but he also had 31 points against San Francisco a month ago. He had 22 against San Francisco last week. So right now he's averaging around 16.5, 17 fantasy. He's top 10 among running backs. I'm good with that. My fourth round pick was Amarian Hampton.
Ouch.
Who's been on IR since week 5. So that's been great. My quarterbacks have honestly been the best part of my team. I've got 2 quarterbacks, which is not an ideal situation to have 2 great. I got Patrick Mahomes and Matthew Stafford.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, the problem is I can only play one of them. So now I'm trying to deal out Matthew Stafford to try to get something back in return. I sent a trade offer to somebody. We'll see if it works. The waiver wire has been pretty friendly to me. I got Rico Dowdle before his explosion, as he's now top 10 among running backs in fantasy football. I did get Kamani Vidal and Kyle Monangai, and so those 2 guys have done enough. But it's my receivers and my tight ends have absolutely killed me, man. Outside, because Justin Jefferson hasn't had the kind of year I thought he would have, and has had for his entire career. Michael Pittman Jr. has been much better than I thought he would be, but I don't have a number 3 wide receiver because Malik Neighbors is hurt. So I've gone with Jacoby Myers. I've thrown out DJ Moore at different points. It just hasn't worked. My flex position has been a net negative for me all season long, and my tight ends aren't good. I drafted TJ Hawkinson and David Njoku late, thinking they were both going to be steals. Little did I know that David Njoku, after a Pro Bowl season last year, is going to get surpassed by some 4th-round pick out of a directional school in Harold Fannin Jr., and TJ Hawkinson, like Justin Jefferson, has no quarterback that can get him the football. So now I'm rocking with Kyle Pitts as my starting tight end.
Yeah, you never want to be there.
Something I swore I would never do again.
You never want to be in that position.
But here I am with Kyle Pitts as my starting tight end, because what the hell else am I going to do?
It got to the point to where I had Tucker Kraft. He tore his ACL.
Yep.
Hawkinson was my backup. I'm sick of it. I picked up Theo Johnson this week. I'm just like, we got to throw darts at blindly throw it now because Hawkinson's doing nothing. I'm in the same boat as you. Hawkinson and Jefferson have both killed me.
My wife's fantasy football team is doing considerably better than mine is. And I help her with her fantasy football team. I should have taken my own advice about a month and a half ago, in which my wife, it's a 10-team league that she's in also, that somehow in her league, Jake Ferguson was still on the waiver wire at tight end. And she had an injured George Kittle and TJ Hawkinson as her backup. Yeah, I'm an Iowa fan. I draft a lot of Iowa tight ends. Move on. And I'm like, Jake Ferguson might not be a bad option. And he exploded for the Dallas Cowboys. So I don't know. I'm from 4-2 to now I'm sitting at 5-5. ESPN still gives me a 70% chance of making the playoffs, but I am hanging on for dear life right now. I have to say that. It doesn't help matters when we've got a guy in our league who's 10-0. We've got a dude who is and his team is disgusting. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Javonte Williams, Rashee Rice, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Trey McBride, George Pickens, the Texans defense, and Eddie Pinheiro. And, I mean, he's got Tetaroa McMillan, Quentin Johnston, and Jonathan Taylor on his bench this week. The only reason he's got Jonathan Taylor on the bench is because he's on a bye. His team's absurd. And I'm actively trying to make a trade with him right now because I think he needs a backup quarterback. We'll see what happens. 913-586-7965 is our number. More coming up. Second hour of After Hours is on the way next here on 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, y'all. It's the Rocket Roger Clemens here. Spent a lot of time pitching heat, Years later, the pain in my joints remind me of those days, but I'm not looking to sit still, and I definitely am not interested in going under the knife. That's why I chose QC Kinetics.
Not just for elite retired athletes, QC Kinetics gives everyday folks joint pain relief using regenerative treatments that work with your body to help repair joint damage.
No surgery, no long recovery, whether it's your knees, hips, shoulders, or back. My friends at QC Kinetics will help you get moving again so you can get back to doing the things you love.
QC Kinetics medical professionals will look at your x-rays or MRI to determine if you're a good candidate.
I trusted QC Kinetics to help me feel like myself again, and I'm proud to recommend them to you.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Get ready, Missouri. Kickoff is near. The world's largest sports book is coming to your fingertips. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. With high and transparent app limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Start betting like a pro in Missouri on December 1st. Learn about your new bookie today at circasports.com. The world's largest sports book at your fingertips. Circa Sports launches December 1st.
Hi, I'm Andy, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. As a product development manager, I make sure every piece of fine jewelry at Shane Company is meticulously designed for quality. From 14-karat gold chains, pearl necklaces, diamond studs, and of course, dream engagement rings. We ensure each piece meets our high-quality standards every step of the way, including the smallest details. Come see for yourself. Visit us in store or at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch all your favorite shows. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey Sports Station.
We have official word on who the two best pitchers in baseball were this year. And it's not a surprise to anybody. After hours here on 96.5, The Fan, Logan Weber alongside Jackson Ogden. Our text line, 913-586-7965. On the American League side, it was, of course, Tarek Skubal, who has become the first back-to-back winner of the Cy Young Award in Major League Baseball since Jacob deGrom did it in 2018-19, and he's actually the first American League pitcher to do it in 25 years. That's right. Quarter of a century was the last time a guy went back-to-back in the AL Cy Young voting, and that was Pedro Martinez, 1999 and 2000. He becomes just the 5th pitcher to win, or excuse me, this is on the flip side. On the National League side, it was, to nobody's surprise again, Paul Skeens, who had a ridiculous year this year to match the ridiculous year he had as a rookie last season, in a year in which some would have argued that he should have won the Cy Young Award in that 2024 season, but he does get the Cy Young Award this year after a remarkable season. He went, unfortunately, 10-10 somehow while pitching for a terrible Pittsburgh Pirates team with a 1.97 ERA. He had an ERA plus of 2.17, a FIP of 2.36. His WHIP, which is walks, hits per inning pitched, of 9.48. Mind you, like, league average for a walks and hits per inning pitched is like a 1.3? To have a whip of less than 1 is ridiculous. He had 216 strikeouts across 187 and 2/3 innings. Here's the most ridiculous part of this is the splits on Paul Skeens' numbers are sickening. So, like, if you look at his splits by decision this season, he had overall for the year, this is absolutely ridiculous. In games that he won, he had an ERA of like a 1.2 something. In games in which there was a no decision, he had an ERA of 1.59. That was his ERA in no decisions across 12 starts. A 1.59 ERA in games that he did not win or lose. He had a 0.29 ERA in games that he won.
It really is just like Jacob deGrom.
Get that man some help!
From the 20, you know Skeens is going to be a Dodger or a Yankee. You know it's inevitable.
He said today that he's always, some teammate of his, some old college teammate said he always wanted to be a Yankee.
That came out and said that he always has wanted to be a Yankee and has talked about it. So, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Pittsburgh is a terrible franchise and they're run by very cheap ownership. And so Skeens is going to waste this incredible start to his career on a team that won't compete for anything. But yeah, make no mistake, he's arguably the best pitcher in baseball right now. Who would you take, Logan? Skubal or Skeens? If you could take one,
Skeens,
to start Game 7 tomorrow.
To start a Game 7?
You need one guy to start a Game 7 tomorrow. Who do you want?
It's a completely different set of circumstances.
Because Skeens is younger. I get that.
Yeah, it's like if you were asking me about a guy to start a franchise with, I'm taking Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
If you're asking me a guy, Game 7 of the World Series, who do I want
tomorrow,
on the bump?
If we're playing it tomorrow, who do you want on the bump?
Probably Tarek Skubal.
I came to that same conclusion. I asked myself this question the other night, and it was so close, but I was like, probably Skubal.
Yeah.
But it's so close.
I mean, frankly, if I need a guy to start a Game 7, I'm probably not taking either one of those guys. Give me Yoshinobu Yamamoto after what he did in the World Series.
Sheesh. Yeah, hard not to pick him. Madison Bumgarner.
Dude, that's the worst part of it, right? Like, give Yoshinobu Yamamoto all the credit in the world for the performance that he put on.
Oh, it was legendary.
It just sucks that the only pitching performance you can compare it to in a 7-game World Series setting in the last 100 years is what Madison Bumgarner did to the Royals in 2014.
100%.
And we can hate it as much as we want, but you also have to completely respect what that man did during that 7-game series against the Royals 11 years ago, because it was otherworldly what that man did.
I've never seen a pitcher, still to this day, I've still never seen a pitcher have a better postseason series. Better postseason
against
overall.
a ridiculous lineup,
He was just nails.
It's the same lineup that won a World Series in 5 games the next year.
The next year. And they did that against a rotation that had Matt Harvey, Jacob deGrom, Steven Matz, Noah Syndergaard. They did that against an elite rotation the next year. That's how good Bumgarner was in 2014.
Listen, never forget, the Kansas City Royals are to blame for the death of Matt Harvey's career.
Pretty much.
Because that man was a perennial Cy Young candidate prior to that World Series. And after that, he disappeared.
Well, Terry Collins leaving him in for the 10th didn't help. Or not the 10th, the 9th.
Yeah.
Me, but you know what I mean.
Didn't go well for him. But
The Dark Knight, as they used to call him.
Skeens, it made some history of his own. He became just the 5th pitcher in Major League Baseball history to win a Cy Young Award in their first or second season. Other guys to do it include Fernando Valenzuela in 1984, Fernando Mania, or 1981 with the Dodgers. How about this one? Brett Saberhagen, 1984 with the Kansas City Royals. Dwight Gooden, who did it the very next year in 85 with the Mets. And Tim Lincecum, speaking of a guy that was on that Giants pitching staff in 2014. Skubal got 26 of the 30 first-place votes in the AL. Garrett Crochet and Hunter Brown got the other 4 votes, I guess.
No votes for Fried?
I guess not. Not in the American League.
Surprising.
Meanwhile, in the National League, Skeens was unanimous.
No other votes?
No other first-place votes.
As there shouldn't have been. There should not have been.
Yeah. It is just the second time that both starters from the All-Star game went on to win the Cy Young. Skubal started on the AL side, Skeens on the NL side. The only other time it's happened, Randy Johnson and Roger Clemens in 2001.
It's pretty good company.
It's a remarkable year for these two guys.
I'd say they just put themselves in pretty good company there.
Yeah, and they're both playing for organizations that they may not be playing for a year from now. Because the Tigers do not seem to want to pay Tarek Skubal the price tag that he is obviously worth.
What'd they come out and say they're like $200 million off?
Something like that. Yeah, like $200 million.
This is not
dollars
confirmed,
apart.
but there was a report that the initial offer Detroit made him was 4 years, $80 million. That's what Alex Gordon got paid in 2016. Like, are you trying to insult the guy? Like, a decade later, and you're trying to pay the best pitcher in baseball what the Royals paid Alex Gordon, basically.
Yeah, they're saying that Skubal, the report, that they offered Skubal somewhere like the best they gave was like $150 million over X amount of years, and he wants a contract estimated at around $400 million. So they are $250 million off, apparently. That's according to the reports.
Why would you not just pay that? You have the best pitcher in baseball. Just pay up. Why? Why would you let that guy go? It makes no sense. Why are these owners so stupid when it comes to this stuff and just let the Dodgers get these types of guys?
Yeah, if you're not going to pay him, you should probably trade him if you're the Tigers.
And not trade him to the Dodgers. Trade him to somebody else.
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of the Dodgers.
Or do it at the deadline next year. Something. If you really, if you are that far apart on a negotiation, something tells me that you are probably not going to get into the same ballpark anytime soon. So you run the risk of, if you try to continue these negotiations and you can't get any closer on something, that next year he could just walk away and you get nothing. I guess not nothing. You do get like the competitive balance, so they'll probably get like a first round pick after the first round out of it.
The 35th pick.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But what's the guarantee that the 35th overall pick is going to be a reputable replacement for the best pitcher in the American League?
The odds are not great of him being another Tarek Skubal.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that the two best pitchers in baseball are playing for organizations. One in the Detroit Tigers with Skubal, that they are good and they play good baseball. They just made the postseason, but they don't. They seem to be kind of looking a gift horse in the mouth here a little bit, and sort of not realizing exactly what it is that they have. Meanwhile, for Paul Skeens, he is stuck in purgatory at the moment, where the Pirates could decide to trade him. And frankly, it might be the best thing for the Pirates to do, but they could also elect to just keep him for another 4 years. He's not eligible for free agency until the winter of 2029.
It's why when everybody at this previous deadline was like, should the Pirates trade Skeens? I didn't get it. You're paying him nothing.
Yeah.
You might as well hold on to him now.
You're still under pre-arbitration with Paul Skeens.
Like, I'm pretty sure we're looking at like Chris Bubich makes more than Paul Skeens at this point. Like, it's probably at that point. I don't know if Skeens being the #1 overall pick, he probably got a much bigger signing bonus. But the point remains, on a year-to-year basis, you are not paying Paul Skeens virtually anything right now.
Yeah.
And you have him locked up for years. Why would you get rid of him?
Yeah, he's got he signed a $9.2 million signing bonus in 2023. Last year, he made $740,000. This year, he had $875,000, but a $2.5 million bonus for winning the Cy Young Award. Plus some other incentives and things. His total compensation is estimated to be around $4.3 billion. But again, he's going to be under pre-arbitration again this. He won't start arbitration until 2027. So I see both sides of it, right? For the Pirates, you hold on to him for another 4 years, and then he is just going to walk away. So they will probably trade him at some point. His value may not be higher than it is right now because you have all those years of team control on him, because a team's not going to have to pay an arm and a leg for him right now. But he is your baseball team right now. When people mention the Pittsburgh Pirates, the immediate first thing that comes to mind is Paul Skeens right now in terms of modern day baseball. You get rid of him, nobody's going to talk about your team, which means nobody's going to come watch your team. At least on nights where Paul Skeens is pitching, they'll come watch. What the hell are they going to come watch now?
50-year-old Andrew McCutchen.
Yeah, Mitch Keller, I guess.
Hey, they've got some promising arms in that rotation, but yeah, Skeens is obviously the main draw.
Yeah, they just, I don't know. Good, bad, or otherwise. Hey, with all those years of team control, nah, just kidding.
I don't think Skeens is going to be on the move, but the hot stove is picking up, and the Royals are in the market for some outfielders, Logan.
That is correct. That is correct. We can all dream about Paul Skeens pitching for another, for the next 4 years in a Kansas City Royals uniform, but that makes no sense for either side. The Royals don't really have the prospects to get a guy like a Paul Skeens, and for what? So you can have a ninth starting pitcher on the roster?
It makes no sense.
Makes absolutely. The Royals are going to be trading away starting pitching, not trading for it, although they did just trade for a guy who apparently has some starting pitching experience. But I think that he's a young prospect, former third-round pick, that they think they can make something out of him that reminds me a little bit of like the trade for Bergert last year or the Cole Reagans trade a couple years ago. And it leads me to believe that there are going to be some arms in this rotation that are going to be on the move. And one of the guys that we talked about on Tuesday when I was filling in for Cody was Noah Cameron. And I kind of want to discuss that on this show coming up next. What do we think about the possibility of trading Noah Cameron this offseason for some outfield help for the Royals? After hours here on 96.5 The Fan, Logan Weber alongside Jackson Ogden, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
More than a few of our patients have talked to me about their first time, but it's not the first time you're probably thinking about. It's the first time that erectile dysfunction ruined the moment. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And if you're over 50, it's likely that you've had that first time yourself. But the good news is that if you're like most men, that first time can be the last time that ED impacts your sex life. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men using protocols with success rates well over 90%. And those treatments have, in most cases, made sex great again for both them and their partners. You could even find that you're performing like you haven't in years. So if ED has been affecting your intimacy, it's time to make the last time that happens the last time that happens. For just $99, you'll receive blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
The Fed just cut interest rates again, and that means now is the time to refinance with Golden Oak Lending. Lower rates mean lower payments, and our customers are saving hundreds every month. Plus, you can make no payments until next year. And if your loan doesn't close, we'll pay for your appraisal. Call 913-890-GOLD today and start saving.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
NMLS number 114937.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold each day from noon till 1 on 96.5 The Fan. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. 96.5 The Fan.
It was just last week that 16 new students started their Centric journey. Before Centric, they were in the military, driving delivery trucks, handling package, managing warehouses, so much more, even finance. Now, they're all training for new careers in cybersecurity.
And at Centric, your background doesn't matter. Cody, you listed off some of the backgrounds of the students, but you know what does matter? Your future. And cybersecurity is the future, and Centric can help make it yours. Go to Centric.com, book a call with our friend Russ Mondry today.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
Did you know we have an Instagram channel? MVP Monday, Chiefs Take Tuesday, Best Bets, Fantasy Football Advice, and real-time updates during Chiefs games. Get behind-the-scenes content from all the guys on a daily basis. It's exactly why Instagram was created, to look at a bunch of 30-year-old dudes giving sports opinions. Kansas City's FM sports station and your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
So for those who don't know, Cody Tapp is out this week. He had surgery, so myself and Jay Binkley have been filling in for him periodically throughout the week. He should be back by like next Wednesday, but I hosted Tuesday midday with Alex Gold, and he and I had a discussion. It seems pretty obvious that the Royals are going to have to offload some pieces this offseason. I mean, when you look at this pitching staff for the Kansas City Royals, they have got an embarrassment of riches when it comes to starting pitching. No question about it. When you look at Cole Reagans, Chris Bubich, Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, Noah Cameron, Ryan Bergert, who they brought in at the deadline and has been really, really good. They also brought in Steven Kolick in that deal as well. And what can he bring to the table? They just traded for Mason Black, who was I believe he was a member of the Giants organization, former third-round pick. Maybe they believe that there's something to be said, for turning him around. They've got a very young prospect that might be able to turn some heads a little bit and bring something to the table. Alec Marsh, who was a starter for their team a couple of years ago, but didn't pitch last year because of an injury issue. They've got a ton of starting pitchers. Somebody's going to have to go. And when you look at this Royals team, they need outfield help, not what could be outfield help, right? Because if we're just looking to trade for prospects, then yeah, it makes sense to trade away a Chris Bubich, who's coming off of an all-star year, his first all-star appearance, but he missed a lot of the second half of the season because of an injury. it could make sense to trade away Cole Reagans, who, when healthy, is a dominant, strikeout-centric starting pitcher, but the injury history is vast. Seth Lugo is older, as effective as he's been, and he just signed that huge extension, and let's all face it, wasn't the same guy after he signed that extension. At least that's not what the numbers indicate. Michael Wacha has been steady Eddie for this Royals team as he's been throughout his career, but he's not getting any younger. So who does that leave you with? A young guy with lots of team control remaining. He's not overly expensive, and to this point, doesn't have a super lengthy injury history. Noah Cameron. Would I love to see the Royals keep Noah Cameron? Yes, and I said as much on Tuesday that as much as I wanted to disagree with what Alex was saying about trading away Noah Cameron, because I'd love to see him in a Royals uniform forever. As good of a rookie year as he had, he finished 4th in the Rookie of the Year voting in the AL. He's a Missouri kid, grew up in St. Joe, just an hour from here, right? All the things about Noah Cameron make you want to keep him in that powder blue forever. But at the end of the day, it's a business. And what gets you back enough to make a change? Because they had the worst outfield bats in baseball a season ago. You need somebody that can come in and immediately improve the hitting in the outfield from day one. Not a guy who could do it, a guy who has done it. A proven outfield bat with Major League experience and success in Major League Baseball.
Here's my one worry with keeping Noah Cameron is that it becomes a Brad Keller situation where the guy comes onto the scene, he's really good. Brad Keller had a couple good years here. He had a year where his ERA was in the 2s, I believe. Might have been the 2020 shortened season, but still, he was very good for a little bit, but it wasn't sustainable. Eventually, he just didn't have the stuff, and he got rocked, and the Royals lost him for nothing. The stove is hot right now on Noah Cameron. He's under team control for whoever wants him. If you get an opportunity to package him in and get a Duran from Boston, a Joe Adele from Los Angeles, it's hard to say no right now when your outfield options are MJ Melendez. I think they'll keep Isbell. They did not re-sign Yastrzemski yet. Grichuk declined his option, so he's not here. They did trade for Cameron Meisner this week from the Tampa Bay Rays. Again, that's a guy with a 2.73 on-base percentage last year. That doesn't really move me.
Career 200 hitter, but he's a former first-round pick, so maybe they think there's something there.
But then you have Nick Lofton and Drew Waters. You can't go into it like that. Like, you have to be aggressive. You cannot go into next year saying, we're going to have Drew Waters, Nick Lofton, and Kyle Isbell be the outfield. No, you will miss the playoffs again. I promise you, you will miss the postseason again if that's what you trot out there. They have to do something this offseason. And you could argue, what if they just paid up and signed Cody Bellinger, who's a free agent? They could, but I think it would be a lot easier to trade for a guy who's making a lot less.
Oh, no question in my mind. And while I don't go completely against the Cody Bellinger thing, because at least for somebody like a Cody Bellinger, and I've heard people throw out other names, at least Belly has played left field before, right? People have thrown out a lot of outfield names, even some infielders. The number of people who are trying to convince me that the Royals should go after like a Bo Bichette or an Alex Bregman makes no sense to me whatsoever. Because how does that help with the left field issue, which is the most glaring issue on your baseball team right now? You could argue second base, but they're not going to do anything at second base. They've already said Jonathan India is going to be the everyday second baseman next year.
I think you could argue left field and right field are equally as bad.
But
like, you need both.
Right. But
Center, you're fine with Isbell. You need a left fielder and a right fielder because right now, neither of your – I don't even know who your left fielder and right fielder are right now, but whoever you would throw out there this moment, they can't hit.
The left fielder is the bigger – I mean, the right fielder is going to be Jack Caglione next year.
It probably will.
That's my view. They're going to continue to throw Cags out there and hope that something clicks. He's going to have this offseason, a full spring training. Hopefully he can get it figured out. I think that's what they want. He's going to be the guy every day in right field. I am of the belief that it has to be the left field position. And somebody in the text line says, I don't think you trade Noah Cameron. He has to be untouchable. He has to be the foundation for the rotation. Michael Wacha isn't it. Oft-injured Cole Reagans isn't it. Bubic is the trade bait. He's the one you have to get gone before he becomes oft-injured. I would argue that he already is.
Yeah, I think the league view on Bubic is he is already injury prone.
He already had a Tommy John surgery back in 2023. He missed the second half of this season with that rotator cuff issue. Teams already look at him.
They know.
Because of it. He already has a lengthy enough injury history for people.
Now, I'm not saying dump Noah Cameron for some average outfielder. I'm not saying you do that.
No.
But if a guy like Byron Buxton becomes available, if a guy like Duran becomes available, Joe Adell, these outfielders that make a difference, it would be really hard not to trade for one of those guys, even if you have to give up a promising young pitcher. May I remind Royals fans, we traded a promising young pitcher by the name of Brandon Finnegan in 2015 for a rental, half a year guy. Obviously, that worked out pretty well. Sometimes just because they look good early on doesn't mean, you're going to get a whole lot for him in the future. I mean, Finnegan's career flamed out the second he got traded.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that will happen to Noah Cameron, but I'm saying you can't make a guy untouchable just because he had a nice rookie season.
I completely agree. And like I said, I would love to see Noah Cameron stay in Kansas City.
I think we all would.
I look at this rotation, I look at the arms they have, and I think about, yes, what helps with the future of this Royals team? It's keeping Noah Cameron. I completely understand that and agree with that. But this Royals team has more pressing issues now and over the next couple of years in the outfield. And I don't think that re-signing Adam Frazier and Mike Yastrzemski is going to solve your left field issue. Those guys I would love to see come back to Kansas City as depth guys.
They need to be platoon.
As guys that can help out every third or fourth day as needed in right field and in left field. Frazier can come in and play some second base when you need him to. Those sorts of things. They're not everyday guys. They're not every other day guys. So you need a left fielder. And one of the other things that we brought up was, what's the other thing that this Royals team, this Royals organization has depth in? Catching prospects. So, I maybe not the biggest fan of him as an individual, and that's a question for, that's a conversation for another time. But I do know of one guy whose organization has already said they want to get rid of him and try to get some upgrades at other positions, one of those being starting pitching, the other being the catching position, their catcher depth. Here's a hint. They play in the AL East in a city called Boston. Who's to say you can't try to package Noah Cameron and Blake Mitchell for somebody like Jarren Duran, who still, I understand he's 29 years old, but he still has 3 years of team control left. He's under his first year of arbitration this year. He will not be a free agent until after the 2027 season, 2027-28.
And I think a lot of that goes back to how much do you believe in Carter Jensen? Do you believe he can be the catcher of the future? He had a very good spring. If you do believe Carter Jensen can be your catcher going forward, I think Blake Mitchell becomes more available. But if Carter Jensen next year starts out, or if we get to next year and Blake Mitchell hasn't been moved and Carter Jensen isn't hitting well, he's not doing too great, then it becomes much harder to trade Blake Mitchell. So it's a risk. It is a risk if they decide to move off of him, and they know that. But you're right. Salvy just re-upped for 2 years, and they have Carter Jensen. I wouldn't be floored if they traded Blake Mitchell. It wouldn't completely shock me. I could definitely see it going down.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Blake Mitchell thing, and I see what you're saying, but the Royals still do have another catcher that is in the top 10 of their system in Ramon Rodriguez. He's only 20 years old, so he's actually a little bit younger than both Mitchell and Jensen, right? Jensen's only 22. You look at Mitchell's 21, Ramirez, is 20. He's a good bat, both in terms of contact and power. He's not the fastest guy. He's got tremendous arm talent. That's his big claim right now, is his ability to throw it behind the dish. He was in 70 games in single A this past year. He hit 245 with a 340 on base percentage. One thing that I'll give him a lot of credit for, he does not strike out a lot. Ramon Rodriguez has, at least to this point in his career, right? He finished the year in high A. I'd be interested to see if he ends up he starts out the year in double A maybe this year. He starts out the year in high A and quickly gets moved. I'm not entirely sure. Somebody said that's too much for Duran. I'm not sure it is.
It's arguable that it is. I mean, I think we're teetering on fair value there. I think that's where it's kind of how much do you believe in Blake Mitchell at that point would be what would determine that. But yeah, I could see where you wouldn't want to pay that. I can understand why. I will say, for some of the people in the text line that have been saying you don't want the rotation to be headed by Reagans and Waka, we do have guys like Kolek and Bergert who came over last year that can also be a part of this if we trade Noah Cameron. Not to mention Alec Marsh could come back from injury. Like, it's not like we're stuck with these guys that are injury prone. Like, we have many guys in the system right now, many guys on this team capable of going out there and being solid starting pitchers.
And I think it's fair to say that we will probably see Ben Caderna in a Royals uniform in the next year or two.
Probably should.
So I'm not absolutely panicking over that when you've got guys, prospects like Caderna, guys like David Shields potentially. You know, is Noah Cameron going to be enough for Jarren Duran? I think it could be close.
I think you could throw in a lower tier prospect with it, and it might get done.
I'm also
I don't know.
not entirely bought into what the value of Blake Mitchell is right now. He's the Royals' number 2 prospect. But hey, just for the sake of the argument, the guy hit 207 in high A this year. He's a year younger than Carter Jensen. Carter Jensen's hitting 480-foot bombs in Major League Baseball. Blake Mitchell hasn't even made it out of high A yet.
And you knew the risk when you took a high school catcher. They take a while to develop, and they very rarely work out. That's just those are the statistics on taking them.
I got another person saying something about trading for Seiya Suzuki from the Cubs. I believe he has 2 years remaining at manageable money. Reagans is the guy with the most trade value in his opinion, this person's opinion. Reagans for Suzuki and one of the Cubs' top 10 prospects. Huh? I'm not sure on that one.
I'm a pass on that one.
I'm not sure. I think the Cubs would pass on that one.
Yeah, I know he's been injury prone, but I do not want to give up Reagans. He has the best stuff of anybody in the rotation by far, easily.
So the Cubs are going to trade away one of their top 10 prospects, as well as a guy who hit 32 home runs and 103 RBIs last year, for a pitcher who has really only had one healthy season in Major League Baseball. I'm not totally sold on that just yet. Not too sure about it. 913-586-7965 is our number. We may continue this conversation on the other side of the break. You're listening to After Hours. Logan Weber alongside Jackson Ogden, 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's almost Andy Reid. Who knew dressing up for a Halloween ball would change my life forever? Now I get to celebrate with the best fans and everything Kansas City. Oh, yeah! My journey also led me to Renner Garage Door, Casey's go-to team for garage door repair, replacement, and service since 1956. Renner features an MVP lineup from Delden, Amar, and Liftmaster.
R-E-N-N-E-R, R-E-N-N-E-R.
Hey folks, I've got a couple of important questions for you. Do you know how much money you need to retire? Do you have a plan in place for your loved ones? If your answer is no, it's time to get your financial planning on track with UMB Private Wealth. It's never too late to start. Plus, their team supports you at every step of the planning process. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule your appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth. Why not start today?
I'm worth more.
I'm worth more.
I'm worth a lot more.
And I completely agree. That's why I'll pay more for your car at GiveMeTheVin.com. That's the name of our new campaign. I'm worth more. You are worth more, and your car's worth more. And that's why I will pay more. And remember, if I don't beat the price on a CarMax or a Carvana deal, I'll pay you $100 at GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
This holiday season, make holiday travel a little brighter with Park & Go. All covered parking means your car stays safe from the snow and ice so you can come home to comfort, not a scraper. Plus, Park and Go's friendly shuttle is ready and waiting the moment you park. No standing out in the cold. Fast and easy and open 24/7. Park and Go offers top-notch service at the lowest price. Once you try Park and Go, you'll never travel without it. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. From the Park and Go family to yours, happy holidays.
At Straight Talk, we know the holidays are your time to say
yes.
So why put up with a wireless company that makes you say
Out of data?
Or
no service here?
Switch to Straight Talk and say yes to real unlimited data on a reliable 5G network covered by Verizon. And with a free 5G phone when you activate select plans, someone else in your family can say yes! Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Based on RootMetrics State of 5G Report, United States 1H 2025. Experiences may vary. Not an endorsement of Verizon. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
This is an interesting discussion about potential trades. Maybe I'm giving Jaron Duran too much credit. I mean, frankly, he's not even my number one dream scenario of the Royals trading for a left fielder, but my dream scenario would never happen in a million years. I don't think that the A's are going to trade Tyler Soderstrom for Noah Cameron and Blake Mitchell, not with the young guy that he is and the amount of team control coming off of a phenomenal year. I don't know. I just, the Seiya Suzuki one, for a couple of reasons, I would say. Like, number one, isn't he, I mean, he's just like a designated hitter. So for somebody who's more or less an everyday DH type, that's not what this Royals team necessarily needs. I definitely see a scenario where Carter Jensen, maybe sooner rather than later, becomes the everyday catcher for the Royals, and Salvador Perez becomes more of a designated hitter. If the Royals keep Frazier or Yastrzemski, then there might be days where one of those guys slots into right field, Salvi gets a day off, and you see Jack Caglione come down in DH, or Salvi goes and plays first base and Vinny DHs. I don't think designated hitter is what the Royals are going to be looking towards. As bad as the designated hitter spot was last year for Kansas City, and it was towards the bottom of the league in terms of DH batting, I still think it's got to be left field. And I don't know, does Seiya Suzuki fill that need in your view?
I don't know. It's tough because he would be an upgrade with the bat. There's no doubt about that. But he is one of those guys that, where do you put him? If you do make the trade for him, look, the Royals already have to kind of mess around with DH because of Salvi needing off days at catcher and Jack Caglione not really having a spot. We think it'll be right field, but they've toyed around and tried different things there. So I feel like if you're going to trade for someone, they've got to at least be able to play consistently in the left or right field. And Suzuki's one of those guys that would be an upgrade with the bat, but I don't think it would make much of a difference. I think he has to be able to go out there and play, or they're just not going to have a spot for him.
I don't know what they're going to do, but I know they're going to do something.
They've shown that they're very interested, and I think they regret last offseason how complacent they were with what they had. They believed in what they had with Melendez and Renfroe and Lofton and Waters, and they went through a terrible slump in the middle of the season where they couldn't hit. And the front office was like, okay, enough of that. Go get Grichuk, go get Adam Frazier, go get Yastrzemski. Like, we're done with this experiment. It's over.
And you can in some ways, you can understand the hesitancy last offseason because I don't think they knew just how much starting pitching depth they actually had. Right? I mean, Cole Reagans was coming off of a great year. Lugo's coming off a great year. Both of those guys finished top 3 in the Cy Young voting. You know, that's fantastic. Waka, pretty steady. But 4 and 5, they really didn't know, right? They traded away Brady Singer, so I think they may have had some idea of a couple of guys, but Did anybody expect Chris Bubich to have an all-star sort of a season? No, but he did. Did anybody expect Noah Cameron to suddenly rise up and be a top 5 finisher in the AL Rookie of the Year? No. Trading for guys like Bergert, who came in and were fantastic in their limited starts, you know? And having depth pieces like Kolek and Marsh, who some people thought when he came back from injury, if he did, that he would get back into the starting lineup pretty quickly for the Royals. That never ended up having to come to fruition. So I think they understand this offseason that they've got way more pitching depth to try to make some moves with than they had last year. There's a lot more of a proven commodity with the Royals pitchers this year versus the promise of it maybe a season ago. 913-586-7965 is our number. We'll come back, wrap up this Wednesday night edition of After Hours. Logan Weber, Jackson Ogden, 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks is proud to offer an exclusive and extensive collection of some incredibly rare bourbons, whiskey, and tequilas. Plus, check out our barrel selections that are handcrafted by our team and bottled just for you. Supply is limited. Cheers!
We're on a mission to get everyone high-quality health insurance and better health. We have plans with low out-of-pocket premiums. For coverage to start January 1st, you must enroll by December 15th. Go to ambetterhealth.com/enroll for your free, no-obligation quote. That's ambetterhealth.com/enroll. Ambetter Health, on a mission for better. Ambetter Health is the brand name for health insurance products underwritten by subsidiaries of Centene Corporation. Go to ambetterhealth.com to see offerings in your state. This is a solicitation for insurance.
Hi, I'm Emily, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company, where a small box with a burgundy bow will help you win the holidays. As an in-house designer, I love creating meaningful, fine jewelry gifts. Choose a necklace with a gorgeous infinity charm to symbolize your everlasting love. Or go for a personalized piece with an engraving, their zodiac sign, favorite color gemstone, or their initial accented with pave diamonds. Because a friend wants you to be a holiday hero. Stop by or shop now at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
What's up, guys? It's Drew. You know, confidence is key. You hear that all the time when it comes to everything in your life. The players that we watch and all the winning that we see comes from players who are confident and are able to deliver when it matters most. What if you could be more confident where it counts? I'm talking about Blue Chew. They provide access to chewable tablets that help you feel and perform at your best. Stronger, harder, longer lasting, like someone gave your downstairs a pep talk and a gym membership. Because showing up matters during life's most exciting moments. Day and nights just got longer and better for everyone. Be ready when she is. Turn oh no into oh yes with Blue Chew. This isn't just about performance. Nothing makes you more of a legend than a little Blue Chew. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. There's an offer for you there. You get your first month free when you use our promo code KFNZ at checkout. Just cover $5 in shipping. That's it. Head to BlueChew.com for details and safety info. Then you're ready to chew it and do it.
Save time when you shop online with Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee makes it easy to order groceries online through our app or Hy-Vee.com. Pickup is always free. And if you have a Perks Plus membership, you get free delivery and free express pickup. Shop online with Hy-Vee and you can create and save grocery lists, shop the sales, and get fuel savers. Talk about convenience. Order groceries online today. Check out Hy-Vee.com or download the Hy-Vee app.
Makita's built for the pros who show up early, who don't do shortcuts, only precise cuts. With tools built to last, job after job, year after year. Performance that pays off, because when the job calls for the best, you answer. And when you need the best, you call on Makita. Built to be the best. Available at the Home Depot.
At Skechers, comfort is a technology. That's right. You don't just make a shoe and hope it comes uncomfortable. It takes research, innovations, compounds, engineering, and so much more to feel so comfortable you'd swear you're wearing pillows on your feet. We have features like Skechers Air Cooled Memory Foam and fits like Relax Fit, Stretch Fit, Wide Fit, Arch Fit, and so many more to make the shoe feel like it was custom made just for your foot. Plus, we have hands-free Skechers Slip-ins technology. Just step it and go. Find yours at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever comfortable footwear is sold.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
This coaching carousel thing is getting a bit ridiculous for me. Maybe I'm on the minority side of this discussion, but I really do not think Lane Kiffin is leaving Ole Miss. I just, to me, it doesn't make sense. I get a little bit of like this is who Lane Kiffin has been throughout his career. He's a guy that's always trying to leave for a better job somewhere, a better gig elsewhere, right? He goes from being the offensive coordinator at USC under Pete Carroll to becomes the head coach of the Raiders. And within 2 years, he's gone. He ends up at Tennessee. That was a disaster. He goes to USC. Things were good. He gets canned. He then goes to Alabama as an OC for a couple of seasons. He's great there. He goes to FAU, and then he leapfrogs that into the situation at Ole Miss. If he could have stayed at USC and just hung on for a couple of years, could have just been the heir apparent to Pete Carroll. If he handles his business better at Tennessee, it just feels like Lane Kiffin has done a lot of jumping around. He's never been at any spot longer than he's been at Ole Miss. I mean, he was at USC from 2001 to 2006, but it was in a variety of different roles. You know, tight ends coach, receivers coach, pass game coordinator, offensive coordinator. I think this is a perfect spot for Lane Kiffin.
Look, do you even think the Florida job's better than the Ole Miss job right now? Because I really don't even know if it is. When's the last time Florida was elite? Tebow?
Yeah,
it's
Urban
been
Meyer.
A long time since Florida was a serious contender. Ole Miss is going to make the playoff this year, you would think. Like, they're in that hunt.
Absolutely.
They're great, and he's turned them into something great. Why leave? Why go there's not many jobs that can be an upgrade from Ole Miss currently. Alabama would be an upgrade, Georgia, Ohio State, but I don't think Florida is an upgrade anymore.
I would agree with you, right? Because it's not like Florida as a program has seen national championship level success with a handful of coaches, right? They've only won national championships, I believe, under 2 different head coaches, right? Urban Meyer won titles in 2006 and 2008, and they won one with Spurrier in 96.
Mm-hmm.
Why does that make me feel like Lane Kiffin can go there and win a national championship?
Look how many guys they've canned in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, Billy Napier deserved it. They gave him an opportunity. He was a good coach at Louisiana, not meant for the SEC. But good Lord, they've been cycling through coaches like it's candy on Halloween. Like
it's one of those programs that feels like they need to have immediate success, and when it doesn't come, it's gone.
Well, yeah, and they're going to say, and their fans would say, well, look what Kurt Signetti's doing at Indiana. He turned them around in 1 year. That's just such a rare occurrence.
Yeah.
And you have to understand, when a guy takes over the program, it's probably not going to be 11-1 year one. Like, even though you're Florida, it probably will not be that. You have to live with that. Now, with Billy Napier, they gave him 3.5 years. It didn't work out. I understand why they pulled the cord.
I mean, they have had 4, I guess you could say, permanent head coaches since Urban Meyer left in 2010. Mm-hmm. Will Muschamp, who actually was 28-21. He was 7 games above 500 at Florida, and he got fired, mostly because they struggled in the SEC. They were 17-15 in conference games. They then bring in Jim McElwain, who was actually, by all intents and purposes, pretty solid. He went 22-12. He was 16-6 in the SEC. Canned him. Then they bring in Dan Mullen, who was actually 34-15 at Florida. 21-13 in the SEC. Canned him. I agree with you. I don't think it's a better job right now. I don't. It's like anything else. Sports is a what have you done for me lately business. I don't believe the Florida job is elite until they can find somebody to make it elite again. And if you're Lane Kiffin, do you really want to be that guy to try? Or stick with a situation you've made elite at Ole Miss? That makes sense to me. For my producer, Jackson Ogden, I'm Logan Weber. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for getting involved in the text line. As always, greatly appreciate it. No after hours tomorrow night. We got K-State basketball starting at 6 o'clock. We'll be back with you on Friday, right here on After Hours, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Hellsberg gifts checked off the list. Now, time for wrapping. Earrings for mom. A gold bracelet to match the rings Danielle wears every day. And for dad, a new watch, because we all know he needs one. All right, this is going to be a good one.
Our favorite things for your favorite people. Shop in store at Hellsberg.com for up to 50% off.
In today's market, you need an agent you can trust to secure the best deal tailored to your unique situation, not a generic approach. Dawn Sharp is that agent. That's the advantage of working with the Sharp Homes team. They can give you so many different options. If you want to skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold, ask them about their instant offer program. If you're looking to buy or sell, contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp with the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Find out more. Google Sharp Homes team.
Men, if the long lines to the bathroom have been holding you back from attending sporting events and you're waking up in the middle of the night dealing with frequent urination, it could be an enlarged prostate. Jeff Montgomery here to talk about the minimally invasive procedure I had that made a big difference. I went to Dr. Brown at Miva Medical, the leader in minimally invasive treatments in Kansas City. The procedure was quick and easy, and I'm very happy with the result. Don't put up with being uncomfortable. Contact Miva Medical. That's MIVA-medical.com.
Get ready, Missouri. Kickoff is near. The world's largest sports book is coming to your fingertips. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. With high and transparent app limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Start betting like a pro in Missouri on December 1st. Learn about your new bookie today at circasports.com. The world's largest sports book at your fingertips. Circa Sports launches December 1st.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Follow us on Instagram for behind-the-scenes content at The Fan 965, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
KSU.
The throw to the near side. It's intercepted. He's at the 30, to the 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Kansas State.
Live from Power Cat Sports Grill on the west side of Manhattan, this is the Chris Kleiman Show on the K-State Sports Network from Learfield. The Chris Kleiman Show is brought to you by Kansas Land Tire. Out of air or need repair? These guys care. The Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers and by Kansas Strong. Strength through reliable oil and natural gas. Get the facts at kansasstrong.com. Let's go! Now live from Power Cat Sports Grill, the next best place to be on game day. Here's the voice of the Wildcats, Wyatt Thompson.
Well, a very pleasant good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Chris Kleiman Show. We come to you live tonight, as always, from Power Cat Sports Grill at 3011 Anderson Avenue here in the Little Apple. We'll be talking Wildcat football with you over the next hour. We'll tell you in just a moment how you can get involved. K-State football is back after a week off, and it seems longer to me. Does it